Welcome to the Sharkpreneur Podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Green. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Green is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Green. Today, I've got the good fortune to be joined by Mark J. Kohler, who has literally impacted millions of Americans and is the professional small business owners are starving for. He is licensed and educated to give you the advice you need. He is a CPA and an attorney to give legitimate tax and legal advice you can rely on. He's completed over 10,000 consultations with clients over his career and is a currently senior partner in the law firm of Kohler, Ostermiller, and Sorensen. Mark, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is great.
All right, so let's go back in time. When did you decide to have multiple personalities and be both a CPA and a lawyer?
It's a great question. I went into my undergrad at University of Utah, go Utes, and I was always an entrepreneur, and I felt accounting was the lifeblood of business. I didn't want to particularly be an accountant or a CPA. I didn't envision that, but I felt that if I knew the numbers, it would make me so much more powerful and successful in business, and marketing and management, and those different skills would be a part of a master's program, which I got. But anyway, I had a professor in my master's of taxation piece of that training to become a CPA, and he was a lawyer and a CPA, and I was just like, you could fight the IRS, go to court, do everything an accountant could do and more, and they make twice as much money, and it was just so much more exciting. And so I applied to law school. I was in my master's program. My brother was in law school at the time, and we ended up attending law school together, and it was really exciting. And so it really helped me form my real passion of entrepreneurship when I was able to meld together the law and accounting.
Awesome. And then how did your career journey evolve to the point where, you've gotten, completed over 10,000 consultations, senior partner, you've got 400,000 plus YouTube subscribers and 16 million downloads, host 2 podcasts every week?
Well, so I kind of got turned against, or I was really not excited about Wall Street, if you will. Our brand that we've really worked to solidify in the marketplace is the term Main Street tax pros, Main Street business. We really love the small business owner in America and feel that Main Street businesses are the backbone of our economy. They really are. And at least the heartbeat. Big corporations control so much. And so I wanted to go off and be a tax lawyer for small businesses. And that's pretty rare. Most tax lawyers end up in corporate America, Wall Street, mergers and acquisitions, making $1,000 an hour in LA, Chicago, or New York. But I wanted to do the small business thing. So we went to a small town in southern Utah, is where I set up shop. It was perfect for my family, and I love the outdoors. And I helped every business owner in town in about 6 months. And if I didn't come up with a plan, I was going to end up doing personal injury and divorces, and I did not want to do that. So I quickly had to create a marketing plan where I could spread out further into Utah and into that region of Arizona, Nevada, California. So I started teaching conferences to real estate investors and entrepreneurs, and really learned how to just teach this in an understandable way and connect with people, which most accountants and lawyers struggle with a little bit. I've gone to a lot of therapy sessions to get where I'm at today. And so I started doing these workshops and garnering clients in the region so that I could stay in a small town and help small business owners. And then it evolved to writing a book and starting a radio show. And if you're going to go down that path, it just immediately went to a nationwide type marketing plan. And the rest is history, I guess. 20 years later, we've got quite a big following and helping a lot of small business.
There's obviously, I think if it hasn't already, the longer version of that story could probably fill a book somewhere.
Yes, I've written 4 books, but I need to write the biography. That's what I need to do.
Well, let's talk about why you think that small business owners have so much to overcome.
Well, being a small business owner myself, I had a janitorial business for 8 years working through college. We had 2 trucks and a carpet cleaning van and 25 employees. And I was in the trenches, just cleaning buildings and restaurants and stores. And it was a really exciting time. It was hard, sometimes working all night and then headed to classes the next day. But as a small business owner, I've been there. I've been in the trenches and I still am. I mean, we're really a boutique law firm. We're paying the bills and payroll every week, as just like any other business owner. It's easy to have a scarcity mentality because if you don't, you got to hunt for the kill and pay the bills. And you're always trying to make sure you've got reserves, and you've got to be penny conscious. A penny saved is a penny earned in small business. And with that mindset, which is okay and it's understandable, to invest in good tax planning, legal planning, financial planning, it seems like, oh, I'll do that when I make more money. I'll do that later. I'm just going to keep my head down and just pay the bills. And then time goes by and all of a sudden you realize you don't have the retirement plan you wanted. Everything you've put is into the business, which is scary. You don't have the rental property or cash flow you hope for. And the real smart business owners start to think a little more long-term. And so the point being is that's a really big uphill battle, mentally and emotionally, because you have to have faith that you're not sacrificing the short run for the long run. But what we do without good planning is we sacrifice the long run for the short run. And so I think that's what's hard for small business owners. They don't have these big budgets and the teams that big corporations have. So they have to bootstrap it. And so we've tried to keep our services and prices very, very affordable and transparent. And it's tried to help them overcome that hurdle of getting quality support and advice to really build and scale.
That makes a lot of sense. What are some of the biggest mistakes that small business owners are making when it comes to the law and their taxes?
Great question. And there's several. I'm sure it's always not one thing in our lives, right? Everyone, you have problems, but the reasons those problems exist usually are multifaceted. So forgive me as I kind of throw out 2 or 3 maybe, but the first one is business owners get into this mindset is, oh, I'll hire a good accountant. It's done. I don't have to worry about it. Or I'll get a lawyer. We'll meet once. I'm done. And they forget that they have to be the captain of their ship. And not all accountants are great by any means. They're oftentimes the most conservative individual in high school and college. They're the ones that are not risk takers. They're not going to push the envelope. And this is the person you're relying on for the number one cost in your lives is someone that is afraid of their shadow. No offense. I've been there. I mean, I'm had so many roles in the accounting industry. I'm trying to change the accounting industry to this day. And so as business owners, your accountant's not thinking about your file as much as you think. They're not going to think about it until it's tax time, get you in, get you out, boom. That's not good tax planning. That's not good tax advice. And so many business owners go to their accountant and say, hey, can I put my kids on payroll? Can I write off this board meeting trip as a family? Could I write off my truck or car more efficiently? Could I do home office? And half the time the accountant shoots it down. They're like, no, that's too risky. Because if the accountant didn't come up with the idea, it's a bad idea. Because for them to take your idea and implement it, they're now in effect admitting that they're not doing the planning. The client's leading the ship. But that's the way it should be. Accountants should be proactive, and clients should be proactive and come together and say, we need to meet 3 or 4 times a year. I'm thinking of doing this transaction or doing this business deal, or how would this affect my bottom line, and what's the tax impact? And that's the number one problem business owners have, is they just think they can set it on autopilot and not worry about it. And that's so bad. And the legal planning is so critical, the right entity and the right structure. And it's not just a freaking LLC with one sheet of paper at LegalZoom. That's not an LLC. And it's a train wreck in a lawsuit or an audit. And so just business owners taking a little more time to get engaged. And I know their frustration. They're like, well, Mark, where am I supposed to go? My accountant doesn't talk to me. My lawyer is too expensive. I don't understand what they're trying to do, if anything at all, proactively. And so that's where my message has really resonated, and why we have so many followers and book reads and YouTube downloads, is because I can speak their language and give them some actionable items that make sense. Long answer there, sorry, but just
all good. I'm sure, given the time, you could probably and have conduct a multi-day workshop on all of the mistakes we're making as business owners. What inspired you to write the books?
Well, I've got several books. My bestseller of all my 4 books is the Tax and Legal Playbook, and it's 30-something chapters, each in bite-sized pieces on practical tax and legal, privacy, crypto, real estate, just nuts and bolts. And I have a copy on my desk because it's my resource manual. And after the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in the first round of Donald Trump, that was the biggest tax law change in 30 years. So I did a second edition, and it's just been a huge resource for so many people. And I just, I wrote What Your CPA Isn't Telling You, a story, a parable of a couple discovering that there's so much more that CPAs should be talking about. Financial freedom for business owners, because Wall Street's not helping the small business owner. They want to just push life insurance, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. And talking about self-directing and using your retirement account to invest in real estate and what you know, it sounds so foreign and crazy, but it's not. And there's so much money in Wall Street that you could put on Main Street with your retirement accounts. That's a huge topic. So, so much there. You get me started, Seth.
I'm happy to get you started. Talk about the podcast and the YouTube channel.
Yeah. So the podcast, Main Street Business Podcast, every week. And we're talking tax strategies, legal business strategies. I interview a lot of other influencers as well. And we're coming up on our 500th episode, and that's doing one a week. And so over 10 plus years. And then the Directed IRA podcast, that's our sister podcast, where we talk about using your Roth IRA, your 401k to invest in notes and real estate and small business, and being able to invest in what you know, which is, again, Wall Street wants to drive the car. They don't want you to drive the car. And I just got to say this, Seth, so many people don't realize that 401k is simply a vehicle. A Roth is a vehicle. What you put in the back seat or in the trunk, that's up to you. And people just equate a 401k with Wall Street. That's not the case. We see some of the big names in the news in the last 5 years, Peter Thiel, Mitt Romney, who have 100 million and 6 billion to Peter Thiel, a Roth IRA. And he started with $6,000 like everybody else just 20 years ago, but he invested in small business. And so I want to empower people to take control of their retirement account, not only their tax planning and legal planning. And it just takes a little time, just a little podcast once a week to take a dose of reality and get the truth. There is so much misinformation out there.
CPA, attorney, you can become a financial advisor next?
No, that's always been on the table. A lot of CPAs are doing MDP, multiple disciplinary practices. I let investment advisors do what they do well and focus on that. However, I feel strongly in my Main Street Tax Pro program, we're training CPAs and enrolled agents around the country, hundreds. And with a certification program, you don't get in law school, a CPA exam, master's program, just street smart strategies. But I teach accountants, you are financial advisors. Really, you're saying, get out of debt, save more, be careful with your money, be on a budget, save for college, save for this, look, have a good social security strategy. And that's financial advice. There's nothing wrong with an accountant talking about that, but they don't. And they think that's voodoo. But you go to your financial or your traditional investment, what I want to call an investment advisor. Your accountant shouldn't be telling you what to buy or sell, but they should be telling you to be smart and teaching financial literacy. Adults need more financial literacy. But investment advisors just want to sell you something that they get a commission on or more money under management. They're not taking the time to do budgets and basic financial education. Most of them, some are. They're great out there. So anyway, I do consider myself a financial advisor. I think more accountants need to embrace that, but that's not an investment advisor. I'm also not a licensed realtor or broker. I tell clients, every one of my clients buy one rental property a year. I buy real estate every year. That's what my wealthy clients do. Why don't we do what wealthy people do? But I'm not going to go out and list it for them and tell them what property to buy or sell. So there's a balance there.
Absolutely. And then for our folks who are watching or listening, who are business owners, what's the best place for them to go to learn more about you, and how do they take advantage of what you have to offer?
Oh, well, thank you. There's so many ways to get engaged and start to drink the Kool-Aid, if you will, and start getting a fresh dose of reality and what's really out there to help small business owners. If you're a reader and that resonates with you, get over to Amazon. Just type in Mark J. Kohler. You'll see all my books. All of them are excellent. They have different approaches to small business and wealth. Then if some of you are a podcast junkie, then Main Street Business Podcast, the Directed IRA podcast, you can get them right there on iTunes or Stitcher. If you're a video person, you like YouTube, and that's what helps you, please get to my YouTube channel. Just type in Mark J. Kohler again. I go live on YouTube every week answering questions nationwide. Very, very robust YouTube channel. And then I have my workshops twice a year. We're doing a 3-day next week. Yeah, next week. Oh my gosh. In Salt Lake City. Then we'll be in Phoenix in December for 3 days. And I have like 20 special speakers, 30 topics, 3 days of tax and legal and business networking and hanging out with professionals and business owners. It's very, very affordable. I want business owners to be able to afford coming. Some of these big workshops and masterminds are like $5,000, $10,000. And I'm like, what the hell? And so I priced mine at $500 or $1,000 for 3 days. And people are like, oh, that's cheap. It's probably not worth it. I'm like, what the hell? People complain about the cost of workshops. I reduced the price. And then there's this perceived value that it's not everything and more. My workshops kick ass. They are freaking awesome. And they're affordable. And it's taxandlegal360.com, taxandlegal360.com. Check them out. You can watch them virtually as well. And sometimes those live presentations resonate with people. So I've got every medium out there. Just the important thing is start opening your eyes, listening more, getting engaged in it, and it'll change your life.
Awesome. Well, we greatly appreciate your time. We know it's incredibly valuable. I'm going to go buy all 4 books, and then we'll have you back to talk about everything I learned. We greatly appreciate it. This has been Seth Green for Sharkpreneur with Mark Kohler. Mark, thanks so much for joining us.
Seth, thanks for having me.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening. We'll talk to you or see you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.